Hello and welcome to episode 5 of me building my dream van conversion.
I would like to tour and play in all 69 cities in the UK. So I bought this really cheap battered transit van, and I'm going to turn it from a messy work van into a living space that's heated and comfortable.
So we're going to start off today making the wall section of the right hand side of the van. And to do it, we're going to use the piece of plywood that was the offcut from making the smallest section of the floor. This piece is a teeny tiny bit too thin, too in depth for the space. It's going to have like about an inch gap at the bottom, but I'm not sure it's a terrible problem because it's going to be covered up by the bed anyway, so. And it's better to use something that's an offcut recycled than buy more new ply. I'm really happy with that wheel arch, it's looking really smart. You can see here that I've already added the insulation and the moisture barrier to the wall cavity, and I've not filmed that for some reason. I must have just been on a real roll because I didn't film this, but I did film the other side, so you're going to get to see that. By the way, my voice is sounding really husky at the minute because I've just been getting over a flu and I've been coughing all week, so if I sound a bit hoarse, that's why. Now it's paint time, and you're going to be panicking maybe a little bit when you see this because the colour is awful. Now, there's a reason for this, I've been given this paint and I've been using it as a back coat for the pieces facing the wall. I wouldn't have this mint in my van. Alright for some, I don't know, but not for me. I don't like this colour. So this is a piece of the original ply that came out of the van, and this piece was in fairly good condition. This is the worst bit of the ply. So what I decided to do is to take some white B&Q filler and fill all the gaps in it and then paint over it. Unfortunately, whatever was in this filler didn't react well with the paints that I was using, so it would crack, and I ended up having to sand it back and repaint it. It was a real pain, so I guess if you're using this kind of filler, just get a good undercoat. I didn't use an undercoat for this because it would have cost a lot of money to buy big cans of undercoat. Something like another 25 quid just for undercoat, and I was like, I can't afford this. I'll just use another coat of the white. In the end, it took me 3 coats of white for each piece, but I'm only showing the first coat because painting something white on something white isn't really very interesting to watch, but 3 coats. Okay, so I've got a bit of a situation here. I'm trying to change the oil on the van because yesterday my oil pressure light came on. Well, I probably better do something about this. I planned to drop the oil anyway, so today I was like, I'm going to drop my oil. And I had all the stuff ready. When I got the sump plug out, just nothing came out. And I was like, oh bloody hell, you know, it's like there should definitely be something coming out of there. So I got a bit of welding rod and I started to poke it around, and this thick, gloopy, horrible oil came. And I'll show you a bit of that now. You see, it's so thick, it doesn't even run. Even if you tip it to like 45 degrees, it barely runs. It is so thick. So I think this oil's never been changed. I went to the garage and they advised me to get this advanced formula motor flush. So I stuck that in there. I've got to leave it in until the engine's running hot. There's no oil lights on anymore, and there wasn't when I drove it today, so... But it's going to be really good to get some fresh oil on it after this scary situation. I hope we've not killed the engine. That would be a worry. As soon as you buy a new vehicle, change the oil. It's so obvious. I just drove to Manchester, and that was really stupid, so don't be like me. Despite having oil as thick as black treacle, the engine's actually running pretty well, so somehow we seem to have managed to escape that. I think it's testament to this year of Ford engines that they seem to be running really, really well, despite not having any oil circulating. Now I'm packing some fluffy cloudy goodness into the walls. This is PET plastic bottle insulation made out of recycled plastic bottles, and then over the top of this I'm going to use some silver foil tape to attach the moisture barrier, the aluminium moisture barrier that we put on in previous episodes. And the purpose of this is to stop condensation forming on the body of the van and rotting the metal out. So we're going to cover it all up in silver and make it nice and neat. How great does that skanky builder's plywood look just with a bit of filler and a bit of white paint? I'm really glad that I used recycled materials for this. Now these are the wheel arch covers that we took off in episode 1, and I've filled all the gaps in them. In one of them I had to replace a piece of ply just on the end because it was too rotten and it was delaminating. But I've done the best job I can with them, and now it's just time to get them prepped and painted. And once these were painted, I didn't put them on the van for a long while. They're actually still not on the van. One's inside the van because it's kind of tucked away inside the bed and it's easily protected, but because I'm constantly throwing like speakers and gear and mixing desks into the van at the minute, I don't want to destroy these pieces, and the colour of them is so beautiful, so I'm going to make them detachable so I can just clip them off when I'm gigging and put them back on again when I'm camping. I just wanted to include this because I saw this house and it looks like something out of a movie. It's crazy. I have a feeling we're not in Kansas anymore, Toto. So once again we're going to use our horrible coloured mint paint that we got for free just to do the insides, because I feel like, I don't know, I want to protect them from damp or whatever. There shouldn't be any moisture there, but if there is, I want it to be solid. Then the outside's going to be painted with our lovely B&Q Fulham Red that we use for the bulkhead. So there's going to be a theme going on. There's not really going to be a lot to say over sections of this episode because a lot of it is just painting. So I'm going to try and give the most interesting commentary I can, but what to say. In this sequence I actually did all my own stunts. Standard industry practice just to cut away and have somebody else more experienced paint your wheel arch covers, but I thought it important to get inside the character of the wheel arch cover. Looking absolutely lush. What happened in the end with yesterday's oil change was I put the engine cleaner through it, but my hands are so dirty I couldn't really film anything. I didn't want to ruin my camera, so basically where we are now is I'm going to do a little air filter change, because considering that the oil hadn't been changed for that long, I'm pretty sure the air filter's really, really bad. So I've had a little bit of a look on YouTube to see how to do it, and we're going to see how it goes. We get to compare the old one and the new one. Quite fun. That's what we got. Just giving a bit of a clean. Get rid of any dirt I can. I think there's a lot of dirt though. So we got this bit of plywood for free because it's packing plywood for the other plywood. Juicens didn't have what I wanted, so they gave me this instead. And they gave me for free, which is what I like. I want to use recycled wood as much as I can. So I just want to say a little bit about how helpful Juicens were. Initially I was buying plywood from Wicks, which is super expensive. Then I found this place called Juicens in Lincoln, and oh my god, it was just so much cheaper. They were really helpful. These guys just took the time. They also cut the wood for free for the top of the bed. They took a lot of time to be helpful, and it felt like they were invested in me and helping me get done what I needed to do. It felt like they were there to help me instead of try and make money out of me, which I really appreciate. And when I couldn't get the thickness of plywood that I wanted for this piece that I was making, they gave me a piece that was thinner, but it was a packing piece, so it was lesser quality plywood, and it's the plywood that they wrap the other plywood in to keep it protected. So they gave it me for free. Yes! So they told me this wood might not be good enough quality to do what I wanted, but that I could give it a try, and it was free. So obviously I said yes, because I'm all about the recycling and the saving money. So Juicens, they're good at handling wood. At the time of filming, this was one of the hottest days of the year. I'm sure somebody out there is getting mad because I've got my top off. But we only get one summer, and I don't want to get paint on my shirt. So one of my favourite parts of the band now is the writing that was on this piece of plywood earlier on. A tiny little fraction of it I just kept showing through, so that if you look really closely you can see this writing. I just wanted to show that it was recycled and remember that kindness from the people at Juicens. I did try and stretch that dodgy plywood a teeny bit too much, and it made a little crack in it, so at some point I'm going to have to repaint that, but that's a problem for future Sam. It looks amazing! It looks amazing. Thank you so much for watching episode 5 of my van build. I'm really happy how everything's coming along. We've got walls, roof, floor, bulkhead. We've got all the dimensions going on, up, down and side to side. If you'd like to support me in making future content and also just be amazingly sound and get loads of free content too, you can subscribe to my Patreon. Patreon is this amazing invention somebody's come up with where you can pledge like £1 or £2 a month to support an artist that you like in supporting their independent content, because the problem at the minute is artists who put out their work on YouTube or Spotify or stuff like that just immediately get ripped off for it. There's big companies making money out of us and we're not seeing any of that money. So if you love and appreciate that art, then I'm sure you'd have bought a CD back in the day. This is the equivalent of just buying a CD or something, but you get way more content, you get way more stuff, and you don't have a house full of CDs you don't play. If you can't afford to contribute or you don't want to contribute, that's totally cool, and I just really, really appreciate you being here and listening and enjoying the artwork anyway. It means a lot to me, and I hope you have a lovely day. I'll see you in the next episode.